I mean, you watch a game and I'm like, they're committing crimes.
Yeah.
Like they're the things they do to Max are
He's getting held every play. They're killing the man.
Like I want to get all of NFL officiating, put them in a room, give me a projector, and just let me play Max Crosby plays and just say, so explain this, and then show. Welcome to episode 65 of the Harvester Sports Podcast with your hosts. I'm Noah.
I'm Austin.
And that's our names.
I'm usually ready for and. Let's talk first about. Dang, I feel like I'm new to this for some reason. Just sitting in this vibe, looking at you like this.
Yeah, we
really
like
different.
to keep everyone on their toes. Where we film somewhere different in a different spot every time.
Let us know if this one's too relaxing, and next time we'll make it more like we're stressed.
Or if you'd like the same thing, but like we're sitting on the same half of the couch.
Yeah, do you want us to be a little closer next time?
The next one could be outside.
I never know. And then guess what? I'd probably be pretty happy.
The next one could be outside in 105-degree heat, and we're just
drenched in sweat. Let's talk about Odell signing with the Ravens, because there was something, like, that's already cool. I was really excited to see Odell play again. I thought he'd play last season, but it looks like his injury was a little more intense than we all thought after he got hurt in the Super Bowl. But something I saw that kind of stressed me out was, like, everyone's like, guys, that doesn't mean Lamar's coming back to the Ravens. But then immediately Lamar posts a picture of him on the phone with Odell. I'm like, looks like Ravens fans maybe can relax a little bit, and this looks like a good sign.
Yeah, that's one of the funniest things to me that fans say is when people are saying, it doesn't mean Lamar's coming back. OBJ just wants money, and the Ravens gave him the money. Like, well, obviously he wants money, but I would assume that OBJ, at this point in his career, wants to not go to a team where he doesn't know what the quarterback is going to be.
Yeah, exactly. I bet there's probably a big decision for Odell was going somewhere where he knew the quarterback position had, like, they had an elite quarterback and also like a quarterback that was going to remain on the team. So him and Lamar definitely been in contact, I'd assume.
Yeah, and I'm kind of excited that them giving him that much money and so much of it guaranteed. To me, part of what that means is that the Ravens must have really liked what they saw in terms of like. Even just from a health perspective, that Odell seems like really healthy and like his old self. So I'm excited to see him play, because if they're paying him $15 million guaranteed or something close to $15 million, then that's probably a pretty good indicator that in his physicals and in all the checkups and stuff that he looked really good and looked healthy.
Yeah, well, even when he was on the Rams, like during his Super Bowl performance before he got hurt, I was like, if he keeps playing like this, he might win Super Bowl MVP, because he was having a great game before his injury. And I'm like, Odell was one of my favorite players growing up as like a Giants fan. Like, you know, Odell was one of my favorite players to watch. So I've just been excited to see him actually get that chance again. And I'm glad he's getting it with the team where he's probably going to be the number one guy after Hollywood's gone, or since Hollywood's gone. And I'm just excited for Odell to actually play again, have a big role.
Yeah, and that's kind of been a question of really, I mean, Mark Andrews I think is great, but the Ravens wide receiver corps has been kind of lackluster, especially after Hollywood was gone after this last year or before this last year. And I'm excited to see OBJ there, because otherwise wide receiver corps looking a little.
And who knows, maybe this was also like in the plans for like Harbaugh and the Ravens as an organization trying to keep Lamar. They're like, well, Lamar, like obviously we can't give you this. If we can't give this money that you want, like we'll show you that we want you to be our guy. Here's a contract, and we'll bring in some guys to show you that we like care. Like we want you to be our guy. We'll bring you that help that you've wanted.
Yeah, I think it's smart if that's the case, because I obviously don't know how close Lamar actually is to re-signing.
Yeah.
With the or to finding a deal with the Ravens or the franchise tag or whatever. But I would expect that he that because I think it's a smart move if the Ravens were at a point where they were like, okay, we want to communicate to Lamar that we really like him and we really want to keep him around, but we can't pay him in the way that he wants to be paid and not that much. So we need to find another way to communicate that. And if bringing in OBJ, if that's something that Lamar wanted and was a way to say like, hey, we do value you, we just can't give you the Deshaun Watson guaranteed money.
Yeah.
But here's OBJ as a sign that we appreciate you and we want you to be our guy.
I think you're totally right. It's like Lamar, we really we love you as our quarterback. We can't give you the money you want, but we can still give you a good contract and also bring in these other guys. Like, because we're not giving you this insane deal that you want, it opens up this room for us to bring in guys like this, especially with Odell, like they're saving a lot of cap space with the deal he got. It's pretty much like all guaranteed and all these incentives.
Yeah, it's basically just the signing bonus. So
yeah,
the cap
straight
hit's
up.
pretty minimal.
It's a great deal, I think, for Odell and for Lamar, and hopefully that means this deal with Lamar will be signed quicker, and the Ravens can get that stress off their back and be more free.
You know, people were talking about the Cowboys a while ago and all these different teams. It makes too much sense for them to go to the AFC, I
think. Let's talk about something that's also breaking my heart. So in the last 6 days, the A's have lost 3 times where the opponent scored 11 points or 11 runs. Oh, I said points. That's bad. But 3 times their opponents have scored 11 points in them within the last 6 days. And it's like really hard to watch because I'm like, I turned the game, or I missed one of them. I missed the Orioles. And I was like, let's see, let's watch the highlights. Oh yeah, that's bad. And I was like, let's watch the full game and see what really happened. I'm like, oh, it's just like, what's the one problem? No, it's just all. Like it's always like I tried to be like have a level head and clear minded. Like no, something has to be the big thing. And I kept looking. I was like, oh no, it's just all it feels off. And it just hurts because like the A's. I mean, Moneyball's on the TV right now. That's how much I love the A's. But, I mean, like, it's hard when they were just recently in the playoffs, not like 4 years ago, and then it goes to this so fast. And, like, is there a plan, or is it just kind of like, a little bit in my head is like, are they just trying to be like, look, we're out of here. Like, we're moving on. We're like, mindset's on trying to find a new home. And we really don't really care about, like, this season and stuff. Because it hurts. It's like it's always it's like the joke with the Raiders sometimes, don't buy a current player's jersey. The A's, it's real life.
Yeah, I mean they just need the whole management and everything is just really bad in Oakland.
Yeah.
the whole A's franchises, they've got some stuff they need to work out. It's just top to bottom. There's never any hope.
And I get the stuff where it's like, oh, but we can't, like, we're in a small market. We can't compete with guys like the Yankees and stuff. And sure, and I hope Vegas helps that. Like, I really do hope they go to Vegas. But I feel like there's got to be a better way there's got to be a way to still be competitive with the salary you have and with the budget you have. There's got to be a way. I can't believe that, like, the team you have out there right now is the best you could do. Like the lineups you have out there are what the management is like, this is the best we could do. Like, through free agency, through the draft, we've done what we can. And, like, there's nothing we can do to get better.
Yeah, but I think everybody talks about, since there's no salary cap in baseball, everybody talks about the importance of spending money and stuff like that. And that's how you win games. Management and stuff like that, it's very obvious that having a really good front office really helps. Mm-hmm. One example, the A's payroll is the lowest in the MLB. They are number 30th in terms of how much they pay their players, and they're essentially the worst player in the MLB, and they're essentially the worst team in the MLB and have been for a while. Yeah, uh-huh. So it makes sense. They pay players the least amount, and they're the worst. That being said, the third lowest payroll in the MLB is the Tampa Bay Rays, and they're currently undefeated, and they're currently the best team in baseball, essentially. Yeah. So the whole idea that, like, oh, if you spend more money, they'll inherently get better, and oh, if you don't spend money, then your team's going to suck. Sometimes you just have to be smart with what you have.
Exactly.
Because the Rays for the past few seasons have been good, and they don't have that much money. They're not the Dodgers. They're not the Yankees. They're not one of these, like, large market teams like the Mets or the Red Sox or whoever else, but they're still finding ways to win and to use their money smartly. So I think it's a lousy excuse of being like, Oakland's just a small market and that's why they'll always be bad. It's like, no, they'll always be bad because the front office and the ownership is bad. And
as an A's fan, I am never, like, there are fans out there who are like, oh, it's not fair. Like, it's unfair the amount of money other teams can spend. I'm like, dude, as an A's fan, sure, we don't have a lot of money, but I love that part of the game. I think it's interesting that teams can spend however much they want, and you just got to work within that. Like, complaining is going to do nothing. Like, we can't change it. You can't just say, oh, like, it's over. Throw it all away every year because we can't compete. You got to just find ways, dude. Like, the management has to find ways to be competitive with whatever you got.
And I think you can find ways to kind of get out of that hole. Like, I would expect the Rays to be a larger market team coming up. I think they're I don't like their stadium. I think it sucks, but but I mean they don't
Taking
spend a
shots
lot
at the
of
stadium.
yeah,
What was the point in
I don't know why I threw their stadium in there. I just don't like it.
Yeah, the stadium's.
But anyways, they are a team that in the last few seasons and historically they haven't been able to spend that much money. But right now they're won the first 10 games of the season. They've got like Randy Arozarena, for example, is one of the most like loved guys in the sport right now because he's just fun to watch. So I think that's what, like, if you want to try to get out of that, bring in a player that people like and that is fun to watch and invest in, and hopefully you start not only winning games but like drawing. I mean, that's what gets the people going. When you just have a revolving door of just players and nobody knows any of them or cares about any of them, then that's, even if you start putting together a couple wins, it's not going to really get you anywhere in the long term. But I think when you get like, if you like, no A's fan is like, I need to get an A's jersey. But if you're a Rays fan, you might be like, oh, and Randy Arozarena jersey would look cool.
Yeah, like if you're an A's fan, it's like, yeah, I'm getting a Ricky Henderson jersey. It's over. It's the whole, like, I get what their plan is. It's like, okay, Sean Murphy, Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, right? These guys do good. We're a low budget team, so we got to get rid of them while they're good, so we can get more stuff for them. But the trades have not worked out the way they've wanted to. So like, you got to just kind of eat it sometimes. Like, these guys, if they are playing well, right, you gotta just take the risk sometimes and keep these dudes on the team, because these trades that they got, especially for Sean Murphy, like, it's not working out right now. I get what their thing is. It's like, these guys are playing well. It'll benefit the team if we get rid of them and get better players in, stuff like that. But at some point, it's like, dude, these guys are playing well and they're homegrown. They're from, they came from the system. The fans like them. Let's just keep them around. Like, you got, like, at some point, it just gotta be like, let's just have this dude stay. Let's just have this dude be a staple in that cornerstone of the A's for at least a few years. Don't let them wear out their contract and then it's just like, who wants them? Throw them to the Red Sox. Throw them out.
I do really love that as a Dodgers fan, anytime that a player is a free agent or has a free agent year coming up, or maybe doesn't even have a contract year coming up, that Dodgers fans are like, we need him, or we want him.
Yeah.
Like, it's with Ohtani, Dodgers fans, because we're so used to like all these great players and stuff that it's like, when Ohtani had a contract year coming up, it's like, all right, the Photoshops are already flying all around. Randy Arozarena, there's no real reason, like there's no real reason, but I'm seeing the Randy Dodgers Photoshops and they're clean. So but it's just funny with the Dodgers. Like, I don't know, as a Dodgers fan, I think I'm so spoiled that like anytime anyone is available or has any shot at being available, I'm like, oh, well, we should probably make a move for him.
Yeah. And as an A's fan, it's always like, you can imagine how funny that'd be if we got Aaron Judge. You know how sick that would be?
The way that the NBA playoffs and play-in tournament are set up, if you're all the way down to the 10 seed, you'll get into the play-in. How do you feel about that? Do you like the way it's structured?
I would say, I don't know. I'm always a fan of like having more games and stuff like that, but I'm not that big of a fan of the play-in. I don't know. I was watching Ted Lasso. This is gonna be a little weird. I was watching Ted Lasso, and they had a thing on like where like, if NFL teams or whatever, they're bad, they don't have like, where they don't go down a division. And I'm like, that would be a little like more. You have a little fear in these teams' hearts that they're like, well, you have a chance of just getting kicked out. Like, if you're bad, like the Jets have a chance to just go, whamp, you're out. But I don't know, man. I always love, if there's an option to have more games and games mean something more, like more meaningful games, then like, sure, I'm down. Like the play-in tournament, like, yeah, it'll give me more meaningful games. But I also, like, if you have a negative record, I don't really want you in the playoffs. Like, I don't want you playing.
That's what I was going to say, is that I like, because right now the way you have it set up, that means essentially 20 teams in the NBA are playing in some form of, whether it's the play-in or the actual playoffs.
Yeah.
Most teams in the NBA, unless you're really bad, are going to be playing in at least the play-in tournament, which I kind of like the idea of that, not even speaking NBA specifically, but just sports in general, that the playoffs should be for teams that are not only just not horrific, but are like good.
Yeah, you have to be good.
So I agree. I think when you have a system where there's teams that have a losing record and they're getting in the playoffs, it's like, I don't know. I don't really love that.
No, because I think of it two different ways. I think of how
The season's long. If you play that
Yeah.
many games and you can't find a way to be above 500,
yeah, exactly.
and that was why like when they put it in during the bubble and like most of the leagues expanded their playoffs during
was that one made
COVID.
sense.
Yeah,
like,
because
if
I'm
it was
like
the bubble, I'm like, I understand because it's a weird season stuff. Like, we don't know what's happening.
yeah, there's more factors at play.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense to let more teams in the playoffs because there's just more factors at play.
And I'm
like
gonna be honest,
missing games.
I thought after the bubble, I thought it was gonna be over, and then when it like kept going, like when they've continued to have it, and I'm like, okay, I get that more fan bases get to see their team have a chance, but like I don't really want these dudes who are like barely over 500 or even under it making the playoffs.
But that's what's weird to me is that all three. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that all three sports of like baseball, basketball, and football all expanded their playoffs in some way during COVID, and they're all still at least somewhat expanded.
Yeah,
Like they all include more teams, which is it's one of those things where I thought it was going to go back to like
me too.
Because it made sense. Like if you're playing like MLB, you played 60 games, not a super long season, so it makes sense to be like, okay, we're going to let a couple more teams in because maybe they just had a bad streak or whatever. But I think it's just weird that it's still this way.
I think it's weird too, and I like if I could take one thing from the NBA and the NFL, I love like the NFL playoffs. I think, don't want to say they're the best. I think they might be the best because if a team's in the playoffs, I guess the NFC East has been bad for a while, but if teams in the playoffs and then in the NFL, they fought hard to get there and they like actually made it. And I love the story of like the guys that get the wild card spot. Either they were like, just in a tough division, or they're actually the guys that like fought hard and then they finally made it at the end. The NBA, it's kind of like, oh, and now
I'd agree with that in the NFL, the teams that barely squeak into the playoffs are still
they're still good.
Teams.
Yeah,
A team that barely sneaks into the NBA play-in is real. They're not a good team. They're not going to win it. Yeah. I mean, you have some like really weird cases like the Lakers have. I mean, they all have a punter's chance, but the Lakers have a better shot than most play-in teams. But it's just weird. I think there's a lot of things that need to be changed in order to completely fix it. But my biggest problem with the NBA, which is kind of a complicated issue, but is essentially that regular season games are like players don't care, coaches don't care. So it's hard for the fans to care. Like it feels like fans care more than the players a lot of times, because part of it I think is the playoffs are so expanded with the play-in that you can lose a lot of games and still get in. And then when you have like load management or all these different things where it just doesn't feel as much like a regular season game until the very end, like the last couple weeks, then it feels like there's more weight. But throughout the season, it just doesn't feel like the teams care that much about winning any given regular season game.
Yeah, and the games at the end of the season I get are going to be more impactful because it's like, oh, we got to keep making that push. But I don't think they should be like let alone the most important games. Like I don't like the teams can kind of be like, let's just coast. We'll figure it out later. And I've real life had like when I first started getting into basketball, family and friends tell me just start paying attention after the All-Star break. Like that's wild. That's a real thing. It's like, well, after the All-Star game, then you can start watching. Like, the games mean something.
A win at the end looks the same on the record as a win would have
week 2
that night that you sat your superstars for just because they need a rest or whatever. So it's I think I don't know how you completely like if you're Adam Silver, or I think one way that you could potentially help fix that is you get rid of the play-in tournament.
Yeah,
because then you have to actually be better in order to make it,
and teams can't even like necessarily coast. Like
even I'm not saying cut it down to 6 teams, but 8 teams I think could be good. Or I don't know.
I think just back to the original 8, like that's perfectly fine. Like we don't have to jump it to 6, but just take away this, where these like however many other teams are scraping in somehow.
Yeah, because I think if you're
I know the math behind it, but if it counts as a playoff appearance too, that's kind of wild.
No, the plans are not.
Okay, I was gonna say if that counts as a playoff appearance, that's wild.
Yeah, and I mean it's just like you're not. I don't understand. It made sense during COVID, but at this point, there's really just no rationale for why you need 10 teams from each conference to have a shot at winning it at the end. When you play that many games, if you can't find a way to be within the top best 8 teams in your conference by the end of the season, then you don't deserve. Like, I think that regular season games in all those sports, I like for them to mean stuff, especially because, like, if you're a fan and you're wanting to go watch it, like, you want it to mean something.
Yeah.
And when it's so easy to get into the playoffs and then, like, turn on the Jets then, and all of a sudden, like if you're up there enough and then you kind of fall into like a low seed, and then you're like, all right, well, now we're gonna play all our best players, and then we're just gonna cook. It's weak.
I totally agree. And if there was a thing for the NBA that could move over to NFL, I'm always totally against like tanking in general, and like the leagues promoting that by giving, like, if you tank, you can actually get the number 1 overall pick, like in the NFL. I love how the NBA does it with the lottery system. I think that's way better. So teams can't they can still drop back and get that top pick, but it's not locked in, and they can be like, yeah, this is our mission. Because, like, I think about the fans watching, like us watching. It's like, dude, we want to watch our teams be aggressive and try to win. When you know your team is like, if your team's just bad, that's fine. Like, I get that. But if you know your team's kind of like taking it slow because they're not ready yet, then it's like, come on, like, I like it being a little more competitive, so that's why I like the NBA lottery system for the top picks, because it gives it that little like diversity. Teams can't necessarily just be like, we'll get the top guy.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, like, the last NFL season, everyone made fun of the Texans of like, Texans are so bad they can't even tank right or whatever, like that type of thing. Where it's like, in reality, I don't like, the Texans were worse than the Bears. I don't think that a week 18 or week 9, 18 loss or week 18 fluke win should really, like, I don't know. I don't like the idea of like them feeling like they're punished for that, or being like, you idiot, you can, like, all their fans being like, really, we couldn't lose this game.
No, like, we can't lose.
I
like, dude,
I don't really love that.
No,
but
I'm like, you should always be rooting for your team to win. Like, stuff like that. Even like if you're like, oh, we could get one more pick over. I'm like, yeah, but like, you should always be rooting for your team to win.
What do you think about? Do you see the NBA is investigating the Mavericks?
Oh, for
potentially tanking, because the other night they still had a chance to make it into the play-in, and they didn't play Kyrie, and they played Luka for like 1 quarter and sat him.
I mean, I feel like, oh wow, that's wild, because the Dolphins got in trouble last season for tanking. I remember that. I think their owner got suspended or something.
It's just tough to like. I'm all for punishing tanking, and I hate to see tanking, but that's a difficult
way to prove.
It's just different. It's like a slippery slope, and I think there's a lot of gray areas where you're like, all right, they had a chance to get into playoffs. Kyrie was healthy, but they sat him. But then also Kyrie's notorious for not playing games that he is healthy. So it's like, and it's such a part of the NBA that has been created where players do just randomly not play. So how can you be like, oh, that's tanking and that's not? Is it just because, like, how much of a chance they have of getting in the playoffs?
I also feel like you have to be really bad at hiding your tanking for them to like catch you on it. Yeah, like, you can just be the manager and be like, well, we just thought this is the best guys to put in.
Yeah, or you could just say like, I really didn't like Kyrie's attitude.
Yeah, Kyrie's attitude.
It feels like he's gonna corrupt the lineup.
Yeah,
like,
Kyrie's attitude at practice was off. He was chirping at me, so we're gonna put this guy in.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I can think
we
of.
want Pena at first.
I can think of at least. I can think of a football team that last year still had a mathematical chance to make the playoffs, and they sat one of their players.
They did.
So I mean, is that tanking?
No,
is that tanking because they had a mathematical chance to make the playoffs, and you sat your quarterback?
I know a team that did that and said, "Wait, we can still make it," but they said, "Enough's enough."
So I mean, it's tough to know. I like to see tanking punished, but also. You got to be, like you said, you got to be bad at tanking.
You got to be bad.
Because you can always
if you're just
justify something.
Exactly.
But
unless you're flinging emails around going like, you better not put Kyrie in this week. Like, and then you're like, okay, yeah, you deserve to get caught. But if the manager's like, we just thought this was the best thing to do. It's okay.
Yeah, if you say like,
how are you going to punish me for that? Really, I think that Kyrie shouldn't play this week.
I mean, you can come up with an argument for anything. It's not a compelling argument, but it's an argument that, reasonable doubt. I don't think they're held to the reasonable doubt that's in the Constitution. I don't think that's applies in this situation.
Kyrie's head hurts. And he's like, no, it doesn't. I'm like, look, you can't even tell. He's hurt.
I'd look at the medical training staff and go,
I'm like, he's hurt, right? Guys, he's hurt, right? Right?
Did you see Luka's jumper in the first quarter look broke when you sit him?
Yeah, or that could be also too if he just breaks your shot, go, something's off.
You're like, he's 7 for 8 this quarter. Yeah, but that one miss was really bad.
I mean, that'd be me. If I started bricking, I'd come to coach and like, something's wrong. Coach, I'm not feeling well.
Would it help you guys pay attention to the podcast if while I'm talking, I hold up my phone like this with Subway Surfer gameplay on it? And I just go, so I really think that the Commanders would be smart to start Sam Howell this year. And I think that given that their defense is so good, they just need a good offense and they can put together a run. So do you think they were paying it? I feel like they were paying really good attention.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I saw one today of Doodle Jump. I haven't seen Doodle Jump in a minute.
Look, they're locked in on you right now. Or what if I put part 1 and I show you a Moneyball clip?
Yeah, if I say part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, 50 parts, and it adds up to a full-length movie.
It's a full-length movie.
It's the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy.
But the problem is every 2 minutes you have to scroll once.
And some of them will be mirrored for no reason. They'll be reflected.
And sometimes it'll be part 2 and you'll swipe up and it'll say part 4 and you'll have a panic attack trying to look for the third part.
And then there'll be a video of me saying, sorry, part 4 got deleted.
Just part 4. They really like that scene.
That one got copyrighted.
Let's play a little game, man. You want to play a little game? Does everyone play a little game? And then there's a crowd. They're like, yeah.
Yeah, games. Probably what kind of game? Kajabi Jubby Can? We can play that one.
Play spoons.
When's the last time you dabbled in Kajabi Jubby Can? Been a minute, probably.
Let's play. My mom wouldn't let me play. What's the black card game? Where it'd be like you throw a card down and says something that's like wacky.
Wacky.
It's like fun and hip.
Something wacky, fun, and hip. Cards Against Humanity?
Yeah. My mom was like, you can't play that. You can play Apples to Apples. I'm like, well, that's great.
Well, Apples to Apples did come first, and then they perversed it, and then they made it cards.
And now I look at a card and go,
well, have you ever played Buck Buck? It's a good game.
Alrighty, let's play a game called Sports Mad Libs. But this time I'm not gonna hit you with a noun and be cheesing. Okay, I won't make you, give me every word to the sentence. I'm just gonna say a sentence with the name of a player missing. You can throw whatever player you feel fits. All right.
Okay.
From any sport, unless it says specifically like for NFL stuff like that. So first one, blank deserves a championship but will never get one or never got one.
Russell Westbrook.
That's actually a really good one.
And
that's really good.
And anybody that has watched us for a while probably has no idea whether I hate Brody or love Brody. Because
when he was a Laker, hated.
Well, because it would have been... Not only do I wish that he would retire with a championship, I really wish it came with the Lakers. I really wish... As a Lakers fan, I sincerely wish that worked out. I think it was time to move on. But that would have been such a good story of him coming home to his hometown team, like his childhood team, bringing home a championship. It would have been awesome. Either winning one there or somehow winning one with KD would be awesome. I really, it's a bummer. I don't think he'll retire with a championship.
Yeah.
But I really would like for Russell Westbrook to get a ring because I do like him. I wanted him off the Lakers. As a Lakers fan, when he was on the Lakers, I wanted him gone, but I do like him. I want to like him from a distance.
Yeah, from a distance. Yeah, you don't observe.
Where I can. I don't have
if
to
you
watch
love
him.
Something, let it go.
Yeah, I want him far away, but where I can watch him be like another triple double. Good job. Something like that. But then, that's the kind of relationship I want with him.
Then you don't have to focus on it. Then you can go back to your thing and be like, oh, well, he had another triple double. You can look back a week or two.
Yeah, like when he was on OKC, I really that was when I was highest on where I was like, oh, another day, another triple double, and he's just cooking, and I could just do my own thing and just let him get his triple doubles.
Oh, for sure. I think mine,
in retrospect, and I know. It's easy to say something in retrospect.
I hope people start bringing up comments of you in the past. Like, I hate him. I want him to die.
I could probably put together a compilation of me. I actually found, I was looking through our old videos and I found a TikTok of me saying before this last season,
Oh no.
there's no way Russ comes back. He's burned all his bridges. There's no way he's a Laker again. And then he was. So he's not anymore, but he was for up until the trade deadline. So I don't know how that happened. But what was I saying? Yeah, that looking back, hindsight's 2020, but it was not smart to bring in Russ. I mean, we needed a point guard, and he's a good point guard. But do you need that kind of a point guard when
Who demands the ball 24/7?
LeBron is, no matter what position LeBron is at, LeBron's the point guard.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't play just in terms of like being the one that commands the ball and the one that takes the ball up the court. Why would you have even when he started playing better? When Russ started playing better was when he was coming off the bench. Because why would you? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
No, LeBron's your point forward.
When you have LeBron, you don't need more ball dominant players like that. You need support players.
Totally. I mean, I agree. I think my player that deserves a championship, they'll never get one, is going to be Adrian Peterson. Because I grew up watching.
Well, he's probably not going to get one.
Yeah, he's probably not going to get one. But I grew up watching him, and he was such a dominant player as a Viking. And even when he went to like Seattle and stuff, like you saw little glimpses of him still being his old self. He had an amazing career. I think a Hall of Fame career, and just would have capped that would have been a Super Bowl win or a Super Bowl ring. I don't even care if he had to jump team to team to get it at the very end. It just would have made me feel better in my heart that he got one at the end.
And AP, I think, was kind of the last era of, and people here to be like, oh, you do not know Derrick Henry and CMC. I still think that he was the last of kind of an era of like that style where you had a really good running back on your team. Obviously, there are really elite, really great running backs, but like, isn't he the last player to win an MVP that wasn't a quarterback? When's a running back going to win it?
Yeah, I mean,
a running back's not going to win an MVP anymore.
I love
like you had Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. Neither of them won it.
If Derrick Henry didn't win it a year ago, then no one's going to win it.
Yeah, so it's like, but Adrian Peterson was of that era and was excelled in that era above everybody else, but it was a running back era more so than
exactly. I mean, like, I loved Adrian Peterson, love watching his highlights, love watching him play. I'll never forget watching him play the Raiders in the Coliseum. He had like a 60-yard run, got to the end zone, and then beer cans started to get thrown on him. I was like, well, it sucks, but he's the GOAT. Look at him.
Yeah, I think he's one of the most dominant players one of the most dominant offensive players that there's been for quite a while.
Yeah, I totally agree. Alrighty, the next one. Blank and blank are the best duo in the NFL.
I'm going...
Go controversial? Go nice? What are you going to do? What are you going to dabble in today?
The best duo currently in the NFL, I would go with, not controversial, I don't think, Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Because I think they've been longstanding, been together for a long time, especially now that Tyreek is gone. Before, the emphasis of the duo was on Pat and Tyreek. Tyreek's not there, and they won another Super Bowl. Travis Kelce cooking. I think
just remember, after Tyreek was gone, people are going to be like, now we're going to really see what Pat's about. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we saw. He's a top 5 quarterback of all time already. And Travis Kelce showing why he's one of the greatest tight ends of all time together.
Yeah, I think that duo, and there's a lot of really good young quarterback wide receiver duos, but that one sticks out to me since they've been together for a while and have won a lot together.
I totally agree. I'm going to say one that hasn't played a snap together yet.
And they're already the best duo?
And I think they're going to be one of the best defensive duos. I'm going to go Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. Jalen Ramsey going to Miami with Xavier Howard, who's always like a great corner. Now you're going to compare him with Xavier Howard. So when you go play the Dolphins, it's Jalen, Xavier Howard. Then you get on the other side of the ball, and you're going to have to guard Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like, you have 2 powerhouses on both sides of the ball. Like, that team's going to be so good. If they can figure out a way to make them all work and, like, keep promoting Tua and keep letting Tua shine and do his thing and keep growing him, Dolphins are going to be terrifying, I think.
Yeah, I think
they're a scary team.
They're a really exciting team. I'm excited to see.
Even in a hard division with, like, Bill Belichick's always competitive, and Josh Allen, who people started to hate on, but I think Josh is going to show people this season again why who he was. But yeah, the Dolphins are really good.
The Bills lost a couple games, and people are like, Josh Allen is even top 5? Is he even top?
Yeah, dude, I hate it so much when that happens. It's like, Josh Allen's not even the 10th best quarterback. I'm like, what is going on? Last year, you guys said he was 1A, 1B.
Yeah, like we were debating. There was a while where the debate was like, is it Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes? And then all of a sudden, people are like, Justin Herbert's better than Josh Allen.
Yeah, it's obviously it goes Pat, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson. Then I'm like, okay, man, I get it. Alrighty, next one. The best position player in the MLB is currently blank.
It's Mike Trout until it's not Mike Trout in my eyes. And that's a super basic answer. I think coming off of not a great year last year, and he wasn't totally healthy, but I think that if you're a pitcher, generally speaking, the one man that you hate to have come up to bat more than anybody else is still Mike Trout. I think that regardless of whether he has the best stats in the league at any given time or not, I think every time that Mike Trout comes up to bat, it's like...
I agree.
It's like you're watching greatness, you know?
I agree. And I chose Aaron Judge, but literally the only reason I chose Aaron Judge because I knew you would choose Mike Trout. So I didn't want to double up.
Aaron Judge is the other one that I would say because he's coming off of an MVP year. I mean, it's hard to not say that he's the best when that's like literally the meaning of
But I
MVP.
think you're totally right. It's going to be Trout till it's not. Till it's over.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just is the epitome of like 5-tool player who does it all. And he just be hitting, be doing everything a little bit.
He's just the best.
Even his, I mean, he's just even fast. He does it all. He's just big.
He's just good.
Also, I stumbled across that picture a while ago. The picture of us at that A's game is really funny. Of all the 4 boys all wearing different sports teams.
Yeah. Well, it was Dodgers, Padres,
Giants,
and then A's. At an Angels A's game.
yeah. No Angels gear.
No Angels gear.
No Angels gear, just the boys cheesing.
And I was one of 3 A's fans. One more sports Mad Lib for you. The most underrated athlete playing today is blank. Any sport.
Yeah, you go first. you go first.
It might have kind of the same. It might have the same area. I'm gonna go, and this might be controversial. I'm gonna go Hunter Renfrow just because I don't know. I'm always, like we just talked about Josh Allen. I'm always of the mindset and the thought of like I never get when a guy has a great season, he's doing really good, he's having a great year, and then he goes to get hurt the next season or doesn't play as much the next season. He's hurt, whatever happens, and it's instantly like we don't talk about him anymore. Like he's off the face of the earth. It happened with Klay Thompson. It happens with whoever. Name any athlete that's great, gets hurt, and then just wipes the face of the earth. Like everyone's like, name the best wide receivers, and they're not even brought up anymore. Hunter was an amazing player for the Raiders. His first years with them, and then he gets hurt last season, and it's like he's not even brought up. When it's like, look at when they do the picture, like, look at the Raiders starting offense. This is gonna be deadly, and Hunter's not even on it. I'm like, dude, he was like one of the best players in the whole roster when we were watching it. He's great. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL. I love Hunter Renfrow, and so that's who my underrated player is.
Or is there another reason they wouldn't put him on there? What kind of colors do you think he would look good in?
Probably black is one of them. Now is the second one gold?
I'm just thinking about where they're spending their money, and they're spending their money on 2 different slot guys.
Yeah, it looks
what are you
like.
Gonna do?
I mean, if you have to, sorry, Derek. I do not speak for Derek Carr. I do not speak for Derek Carr, but me personally, Austin Carr would be cheesing if I saw Hunter play.
Personally, if I was the one extending the contracts, I'd slide it.
I'd slide him a little money.
I'd say, so what's your Venmo?
But the thing is Hunter going to be sad playing against Carolina twice a year? Is he going to be a little upset?
No.
Probably take his anger out on his home.
He probably grew up a Carolina fan, huh?
Mm-hmm. What about you? Most underrated athlete right now? You say me, and then post a picture of you at tennis.
I'd say one of them...
Tony Kemp.
Is it? I'd say one of them I think, is Max Crosby. And I think people who know ball, he's not underrated amongst people that know ball. That's all I'm going to say, is that if you know ball, you know Max. And you know he's the man.
Especially Raider fans know Max. Like, they all know. And it feels like outside of it, we don't really talk about Max.
But I even think fans, I think fans recognize that Max is good more so than it's just sometimes the writers.
Journalists.
It's just like the little things where you see. It's not even that people disrespect him. It's just that they just don't bring him up.
Yeah.
Which, like, whenever I see on Twitter, like, the best pass rushers, and like you list 5 and you don't list Max, like, how is that? How do you put together a pass rush list that doesn't include Max? It's just what I don't really understand.
I'm like, I don't really get where you're going.
Like, you probably haven't. Oh, I get it. You haven't really watched.
No, but as I get it, it's fun to hate on the Raiders. No one actually wants to sit down and watch a game. I get it. Like, it's fun just to attack from a distance.
Yeah, well, and then even
but
like
you just watch one game.
You look at his stats, and then I mean, you watch a game, and I'm like, they're committing crimes. Like they're the things they do to Max are.
He's getting held every play. They're killing the man.
Like, I want to get all of NFL officiating, put them in a room, give me a projector, and just let me play Max Crosby plays, and explain this, and then show him being tackled,
and say, "Would you call this?" And you just click through all of
it. So what's going on in this one? As he's like has him in a like arm bar.
Maybe I would.
It's probably holding, wouldn't you say?
You know what? I don't want robo umps. Maybe I want robo NFL refs.
How far away is that technology?
Just zipping down the sideline. And do they launch a flag out of their chest or something? Well, I asked that question on Twitter, and some of our fans said, he must have been Ravens. I forgot his name. Kicker for the Ravens.
Oh, Justin Tucker?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, he's a kicker, I get it, but I don't think he's underrated. I think a majority of us understand he's
underrated
the best
is a technical term. Anybody who says he's not the greatest kicker of all time, I would technically say is underrating him. But I don't think it's like people like. I don't think people are like, oh, I don't know. Like, if you're talking about kickers, it's if anything, it's the position of kicker is underappreciated. Not Justin Tucker. You wouldn't say Justin Tucker's underrated. You would say the position of kicker is underappreciated. Because if you're talking about kickers, everyone's going to say he's the best in the league, which means he's not underrated. But do people bring up that he's great as much as they should? Maybe not.
Maybe not. You say, Austin, list the best players in the NFL right now. I would get pretty far down the list before I start listing like Kyle Juszczyk. He's the best fullback. How far down the list am I going to get before I list a fullback, though? How far down the list before I list a kicker?
Even though I might be a fullback hater.
Yeah.
For no reason.
But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to get far down the list before I list a kicker, but he's still the best kicker without a doubt. Like, he's the best kicker in the league without a doubt. He's not going to come in my top 20 for best players in the league right now.
Yeah, I think there's some times where different positions are difficult to compare because, it's like even I think like people say like Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Yeah.
And it's always just assumed people just say GOAT and everyone always just talks about quarterbacks. Is it kind of weird that it's not even like the GOAT discussion about quarterbacks compared to GOAT discussion about any other football position or all football positions? Like, that's non-existent.
Yeah,
no. When I would definitely not say he's the best. Like I said, Jerry Rice. If you can compare, positions, I'd say there's players at other positions.
Preach, right?
But also, it's impossible to compare that. I think
exactly.
It's the same thing like baseball. Like why you would say best pitcher or best position player of all time. You would never say like
who's the best. Yeah,
like who's better. This pitcher or this batter is like
people throw us at Twitter. Who's better, Tom Brady or Deion Sanders? I'm like. How am I supposed to do that? like, what are we grading them on? Throwing the football? I bet Deion's probably pretty good too at throwing the football.
Probably.